Unfortunately, I can't give you one answer because there's a lot of different factors that go into it, but generally you will want to repot about every 2 years. But this entirely depends on how you keep the plant. If it's a plant that likes to be a little bit more wet like this Masdevallia, I repot every year. It also depends on how much fertilizer you use. If you have a very heavy fertilizing hand, your moss will break down faster, especially if it's a plant that wants to stay more wet. However, if you mount plants, then the moss can last a little longer, especially if you use a natural wood or cork mount, because the roots will grow onto the wood and not rely on the moss as much. But if you have a mix of bark and moss, I've found that bark will break down much faster and will be the key indicator for me to tell when I need to repot. I also tend to use moss to hold in humidity more than actually keep a plant wet, so I put it on top and have bark on the bottom. So I'll have a very thin layer of sphagnum moss on top, generally an inch, maybe 2, and then the rest will be filled with bark. And the moss on top in this pot is definitely starting to break down, but the bark is needing to be replaced. And all of these glass ones I am going to do next spring because it's been 3 years now. But there is one way that you can always tell if a plant needs to be repotted, and that is by doing a sniff test. It will smell bad if it needs to be repotted. Hope this helps.